we're gonna get going. And if he logs in, he logs in. All right, so obviously the first thing I want to say is welcome to the team. Belknap really is a great place to work. And as I mentioned earlier, I am going to go over my history. So I started with Belknap in 2011 as a part-time data entry clerk. And part-time, I was working maybe 18 to 20 hours a week. Within 30 days, 30 to 60 days, I became a full-time office assistant, which was amazing. And I maintained that position until 2014 when I became an HR assistant. And then after that, in 2015, I became the HR manager, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And that's what I got my degree in. So it works out really well. I'm super psyched to be doing what I do every day. My role here isn't just being the policy police. Part of my role is also making sure that employees have the resources they need to be successful, whether that's in their job or their personal life. So if you need anything, if something happens and you're just like, I don't know where to go, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I have a ton of resources for employees that I'm always willing to share and help out through those processes. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to do a review of BambooHR, which is our HR management system. So can you see my screen?
I can.
Fantastic. So your screen is going to look similar, but a little different. You're not going to have all of the bells and whistles that I have because I'm the admin of the page. Yep. But we're going to go over the basics. So on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, you're going to see, you can request time off here. If you scroll down, there's the who's out. So this is why we like having the pictures here. I can easily go in and see that Jay's out, Ben's out, and Kim's out today. And that doesn't mean that they're out. It could mean that they have appointments or other things going on, but I can clearly see who's in and who is out. Correct. So if I scroll over who's out, you can see that there's a thing that pops up called full calendar. I can click on this and you can too. And then I'm really going to be able to see what's going on. So you're seeing all these fantastic rainbow colors. We're going to go over what that means, but you don't have to memorize it because at the bottom of the screen, there's a key. So what would you use this for? Well, you could come in here and let's say that you needed a week off. You could easily come in here and see who else on your team is off during that period of time and say, okay, well, 2 or 3 people on my team are already off on this day. I'm probably not going to get it. So I'll reschedule for the following week when less people are off. So that's something that you can utilize it for. You don't have to, but you're welcome to do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I can easily see here, like, let's go to April. I'm going to scooch over so we can see. So I can see, I'm going to go back because I had more colors. So if you ever see orange like this on there, it tells me that there are people that have trainings that day. Okay. And that they could be on site, they could be off site, they may be on Zoom, but they're not available to work in the field on that day. Okay. And we do a lot of trainings this time of year. So if you go through February, March, and April, you're going to see orange all over the place.
Right.
Green tells me that people are either taking a half day or a whole day off. And then blue tells me that people have appointments. And this is important to put into BambooHR so that the schedulers know. So let's say that you have a dentist appointment at 8 a.m. one morning. You need to put that into BambooHR so the scheduler knows not to schedule you until like maybe 10 o'clock or so. And we'll go over how to do that. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to go back to home. So to request time off, there's 2 ways to do it. And I highly recommend that you download the BambooHR app.
I got it. I got it on my phone already. Perfect. Right now. Yeah.
So you don't have to come in here to do it, but we are going to go over the different types of time off that we have so that you understand them a little bit better.
Okay.
So we have paid time off, which you don't have yet, but you will accumulate as you stay here. We have conferences, which I just went over. Those are trainings. We have appointments, and that's those short periods of time that you need off for doctor's appointments or whatever else may be going on in life. We have unpaid time off, and that's what you would use right now. If you needed a Friday off or a half a day, you would use that unpaid time. And then the rest of it, you really wouldn't use. We have anniversary days, which after your first year of employment, you would get 1 day on your anniversary that you can use within 1 year.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. So there's all kinds of ways to accumulate time. We also have banked holidays. So let's say that you worked the week of 4th of July, and even without the holiday, you put in 40 hours, you can email me and say, hey, Angie, I put in 40 hours this week. I want to bank my holiday, and then you can use it within the next year.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, really cool future that we have. So I love having that. So I'm going to show you how the appointments work. So I'm going to click on appointments and I'm going to set a date. I'm going to say that next Thursday I have an appointment. Oh, look, I already have time off requested. So that cues me too, but I'm going to put this in anyway. So appointments are set up by hours. So I'm going to say that I need 2 hours, and I'm going to put in here dentist appointment at 10 a.m. in Concord. And that lets the scheduler know that I have to drive to Concord. That's a 40-minute drive. So I can't get out at 9:30. I need to be out probably around 9.
That's
so we want to make sure that we can do that. And then
you got to be as detailed as possible.
Exactly. Be back by noon, just so that they know. And then you would hit send request. I'm not going to send that because obviously I don't need that appointment.
Right.
The other thing that we can do here, let's say that I want a week off. So I'm going to take June 7th through the 11th off because, well, I want to. We're going to change this to paid time off because I have paid time off to use. You'll notice that this now changes from an hourly increment to a daily increment. Now, let's say that on Monday, I know I have an appointment Monday here at work. I've got something I need to do. I'm going to take half a day.
Okay.
So I'm going to change that to 0.5. And in my notes, I'm going to be work 8 to noon Monday, and then rest of week off. Not traveling internationally. It's really important with COVID that we know if you're going to travel internationally. So if you're going to Canada, if you're going to Mexico, if you're going to Aruba, any of those places outside of the lower 48. So be very specific, or I have to call you and say, hey, AJ, I see that you've got some time off. Are you going anywhere outside of the 48 states?
Okay.
So keep that in mind. So does that all make sense?
It does, yes.
Okay. And if you have any questions, obviously you can phone me and ask me about it, and I can answer whatever questions you have. So we're going to scroll down a little bit further on this page. You're going to see celebrations. So it shows us people's anniversaries as well as their birthdays that they have here. So you're going to see on April 1st, today is Dawn's 8th anniversary at the company, which reminds me, I tell her happy anniversary. So when she pulls up BambooHR today, she's going to have confetti going across the top of her screen, as well as right here to say, hey, congratulations on your anniversary today. It will do the same thing on her birthday as well. So those are some pretty cool features. And then just a little bit lower, this is really important. A lot of people, I'm hoping they utilize it, but if they don't, then they're missing out on some really great resources. We have what's called company links. And here we have our SDS sheets. Now, we don't have paper SDS. We're trying to reduce our paper usage. We're a landscape company. We're trying to go a little more green. So I will send out the website for the SDS sheets for you so that you have access to that. There's also an employee suggestions box. So if you're working one day and you're like, oh, I think this would be a really cool idea, go ahead and drop a suggestion in there. You do have to do this through the web browser, though. You can't do it on the app for the phone. You have to log in. And then we have the Good News Network. Who doesn't need good news these days? So you can click on this and see, kids that are helping charities, puppies who are just making people happy, and all the good things that do happen in the world. So that's a really cool link to have. And then underneath that is some educational sources. This is for personal growth as well as professional growth. So there's Google Learning, Microsoft Office, and then some things that are very landscape specific. And below that is the employee assistance part. And to me, this is the most important piece of these links. You have the New Hampshire COVID testing information. There's New Hampshire 211. 211 is a great resource if there's ever an emergency that you may have. You have the Department of Health and Human Services, New Hampshire Housing, Domestic Violence, Substance Abuse, Alcoholism, Suicide Prevention, and New Hampshire Employment Security. So all of these links are available to you. You just have to click them and it will take you directly to the website.
Okay.
On the middle of the screen, you have what's happening in BLC. You're not going to see quite as much as I do, but this is where you would see announcements. I'm pretty sure that you've already gotten an email that was an announcement. So anytime I send an email to the entire company, it's through BambooHR, and it will pop up in what's happening. You will see new hires in here, anniversaries, things of that nature. And then under that, welcoming people. See, you're right there. We're welcoming new hires to the company. So those are also there as well. And then below that are some things that I have that you won't be able to see. So we're going to click on the My Info tab, and I hope that I set this up right so that perfect. So you're going to click on My Info and your information is going to show
Yep.
up, not mine, because that would just be weird.
Yeah, I filled my profile out already, and she already got it done.
Perfect. Awesome. So the one thing I do want to point out is that you can go in these and make adjustments. So if you do move someday or you change your personal phone number, all you have to do is come in here, change it. I'll get an email so that I know to change it in our payroll system as well.
Okay.
All right. So all your information is here. If you click the job tab, and I'm not going to do that because you would see my rate of pay, but if you click the job tab, that's where you're going to see your rate of pay, the department you work for, your employment status, if you're hourly or salary. And then emergency contacts is really important. Make sure that you go on this tab and fill out your emergency contacts, because
We'll do that today.
perfect, thank you. Because if there is an emergency and I don't have this information, we have no way of contacting your loved ones.
Right, understand.
Yeah. And then so that's basically the tabs that you need. And then there is the performance tab. Oh, time off. We'll go over that one. That one's really important too. So here you can see I have 24 and a half days to use by the end of the year. I know. Well,
You're saving for a monster vacation, ain't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to take it very often. So likely by the end of year, I'll probably still have 15 days left over. So you'll see that I have 24 and a half days, but underneath that, it says I have a half a day already scheduled. So that tells me I have actually 24 days to use. So you kind of have to do the math in your head yourself.
Common sense.
And then if I scroll over, you can see that I have one anniversary day that I could use, but I have no banked holidays. And that's just, it's for your information. Down here underneath, you can see that April 2nd, I'm using that half day tomorrow afternoon. April 6th through the 8th, I have a conference, so I will be working, but I will be going to a training from 9 to noon those days. And then Memorial Day is coming up on March 31st, which is fantastic. Underneath that is our history. So let's say that something happens. I'm like, oh, I don't understand why I only have this many days. I can click on paid time off and then go to 2020. And I might see that I overused time and maybe that took away from my 2021
Right.
time. So we can see the history and all kinds of stuff here. So if you ever have any questions, again, you're welcome to reach out to me, but this is a great resource as well.
Yes.
As you go through your time here, probably about once a month, you're going to have what's called a PAR, which is a personal assessment review. And what this does is, maybe it's a personal activity review. I've never really figured out what it stands for. I've heard it 1,000 times, but so basically what it is, this is your opportunity to tell us what are your successes, what challenges you are having, and then what are some action items that you need to take. So this will happen probably about once a month with your crew leader. So please be aware of that. You just come into this section here. I'm going to show it. You're going to see all kinds of stuff on mine, but you just click add PAR and you put in your successes, your challenges, any actions that you have. And then the managers will fill out this portion of it.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have our performance tab. And our performance tab is really, really cool. So here you can set up personal goals for yourself. So if there's things that you want to learn how to do while you're here, like let's say that you're on the Mo crew, but you really want to learn how to prune, you can put learn how to prune and then set a date for that. And your manager can help you work through goals as well.
Okay.
So you can see I have a ton of goals. BambooHR full utilization, I'm at like 80%. We're going to change that to 90 because I am pretty close to using almost all of it. So can you can progress how you're doing on that. And then you can also in here, you can click edit and put notes in what you've done, what you need to do. So it's a really cool tracking system for your goals.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So revive the onboarding process. We're like 60% done here, or 70, we'll say 70. So I can track my goals. Obviously I haven't been doing it, but I need to. So it is a really cool resource. And then there's your assessment. This is done twice a year for us, once in January, once in July. This is my assessment from the last time. It's very short. We don't want assessments to be so long that it's daunting for employees.
Yeah.
So, but we do want detail. So when you go to do your self-assessment, please make sure that you put in as much detail as you possibly can. And then your manager is going to do their portion of it as well. So as you can see over here, there's the manager's assessment. I can't see it. And the reason I can't see it yet is because they haven't completed it.
Right.
So, and they can't see mine until they complete it. So it's a completely objective system. So I'm not able to see their comments. They're not able to see my comments until they're both completed. So we're not feeding off each other's comments.
Yep.
So, which is very cool. And then, so that's basically the main tabs that you're going to use in here for under your My Info. Then the last thing that you're going to use, I have to minimize this a little bit because the Zoom screen actually takes up some space that I can't get to this, but you're going to click on Files, and we have some great things in here as well for you. So you can go through this, and you don't have to worry about company forms, but we have our field guide, and our field guide is basically our standard operating procedures for what we do more in hardscapes and softscapes than what we do for mowing. We haven't created it yet for mowing or for just the recurring maintenance side of things, but there's still some really cool information in here. And further down, we have lawn and plant healthcare, which explains fertilizer and pesticide usage. We have plant identification, which is great for anybody in the company to learn different plant types. And then finally, we have our policies. And this is where you and I are going to spend a little bit more time. So we're going to take some time right now to go over all of our policies. And then at the end of today, I'm going to send all of them to you to sign off on, to say that you did receive the book. This is the boring part, not that BambooHR was super exciting, but this is where we really get into the nitty gritty of what the expectations are while you're working here. So if you have any questions through these, please don't hesitate to stop me to ask.
Okay.
Okay.
Understood. Thank you.
Take a big swig of water because there's a lot of talking to come up. All right. So we're going to start with our driver policy. Because even if you aren't a driver, or I think that you likely will be a driver, you still should know what the expectations are of the drivers. So to be a qualified driver for us, you obviously had to get your med card, and then you have to make sure that you have a valid license and a clean driving record. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we don't want to see any DWIs in the last 5 years, no DUIs in the last 5 years. And I don't need a 4-page report of all of your speeding. Like, that's really important. We haven't done so if you have 1 or 2 tickets, we look at that depending on the speed. If you were doing 100 over in the last 6 months, it's probably like, But if you have like 15 and under over, depending on what the situation was, we're gonna be like, okay, and we're going to base it on the number of points that you have against you as well. So it's cumulative events as well as points. I had a gentleman who started working here, and I received his motor vehicle record, and it was 10 pages long.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No driving.
Yeah.
You know, that's a testament to what his character is. So yeah, no driving. So then we have vehicle inspection reports. This used to be done on paper, so this is a very outdated policy. I need to update it. But now we do our motor vehicle inspections through an app called Whip Around, which you will get an invite to if you haven't already. So once you get that invitation, you go in, and then you're going to click, let's say that you're using truck 1 for the day. You're going to go start inspection for truck 1, and it's going to walk you through every single thing that you need to check on that truck. So it's foolproof. And you do need to check each of those things.
Right.
Cell phone usage since 2012, the DOT has said that basically if you drive a commercial motor vehicle, you can't touch an electric device while you're driving. You can't even touch it. So if you're going somewhere that you're not sure, it's really important that you set your GPS prior to leaving. Even if you know how to get there halfway and you think you're just going to turn it on at that halfway point, don't do that. Just set it and forget it. So you could face, if you were caught using an electronic device, you could face up to a fine of $2,750, and the company can face up to $11,000 fine.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, wow. So it's really important that we not use our electric devices while driving a company vehicle. So we do have GPS in each of our vehicles, and it is partially to watch speeds because we're in the public eye. We have major billboards driving all over the place. And if we have people who are speeding and being reckless, it really does affect our reputation. So we do watch speeds. The other things that we look for are idle times. And we also look for the routes that people are taking to get places. For instance, we had a gentleman probably 6 years ago when we first got GPS. his job was just to come in the morning and take care of trash, which could take
Yeah.
anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours at the locations that we have trash pickup.
Yeah.
And he was taking 2.5 to 3 hours. We're like, okay, so what's going on here? We know that there isn't that much trash out right now.
Yeah.
We pulled up GPS and found out he was looping the lake once to twice a day to milk the clock. And we were like, okay, and that's falsifying employment records. So we ended up terming him right away because it had been going on for quite some time. So we do look at multiple different things with the GPS. So just be aware that all vehicles do have GPS in them. We do allow employees to do up to 5 miles over the speed limit. That's pretty reasonable, and that does include on the highway. So seatbelts, it is mandatory that all people within the vehicle must have a seatbelt on when the vehicle is in motion or at a stoplight, obviously traffic lights, things of that nature. So please make sure that you do wear your seatbelt. If you have a passenger who's refusing to put their seatbelt on because they don't believe in them, they can get out and go home. It's that simple. Okay.
See you later.
Absolutely. Fuel cards are in every vehicle. The PIN number to the fuel card is the last 4 digits of your social security number in most cases. If it's not, I would email you separately and say, hey, your PIN number matches someone else. We had to change it to whatever. It is really important if the vehicle at the end of the day is under 3/4 of a tank that you're stopping somewhere and filling it up, because you may not be the next person in that vehicle.
Understand.
Yep. People will let you know where the keys are. Registrations are usually in the glove box. Parking at the job sites, you'll have people with you that can help you with that. I don't know where to park at every job site. So just use your resources, ask your supervisor, things of that nature. When you park at our shops, you'll see where people are parking when you pull in, but you're going to be working out of our Route 106 facility. Do you know where that is?
I do. Yeah, I live in Belmont.
Okay, perfect. So when you pull in, you're going to see right when you pass the gate along the, there's like a little bit of an embankment when you pull in on the left.
Okay.
People tend to back in there.
Okay.
And then you walk up to the mow area afterwards.
Understand.
Yeah. For other locations, because I am recording this, I am going to go over the other locations because I don't know who's going to be watching this. So if you were to go to our project site, which is just down the road from our main office on Country Club Road, we're 25, it's 51 Country Club Road. When you pull in on the right-hand side, you're going to go down the embankment and you would see that employees are parked on the left-hand side as well.
Okay.
They park front to back, but they set up as teams, because what could happen is one project team may get back before another, and if someone's car is behind them, they could just be stuck there. So no, you don't. So each of them park as a team so that they know we're all going to be back at the same time. We all can leave at the same time. Now, if you were to go to our Wolfboro location, which is the Carroll County location, very easy. When you pull into Carroll County landscape, you go behind the garage building and you'll see all the cars lined up along the back side of the parking lot. So those are where you would park at our locations. Really important as a driver to make sure before you leave the yard or before you even get in your vehicle that you know where the first aid kits are, the fire extinguishers, and the emergency reflective triangles. Why? Well, because that's the first thing. If you get pulled over by the New Hampshire DOT, those are the first 3 things they're going to ask for.
Yeah.
Show me where your emergency stuff is. And if you can't locate it, they could very likely either A, cite you and give us a fine, or 2, put the vehicle out of service, especially if all 3 of those things are missing. Let's see. If you were convicted of a traffic violation, even in your own personal vehicle or a professional vehicle, it's really important that you notify us right away. This is a conviction. So let's say in your personal vehicle, you get pulled over for speeding and you say, you know what, I'm going to fight it. That's not a conviction. You can wait till after the court date. And if they say, nope, you weren't speeding, then you never have to tell us. But if you, the second you choose to pay the fine, that's considered a conviction and I need to know.
Yep.
Okay. Department of Safety inspection. So it is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when will you get pulled over by the Department of Safety. We have over 50 vehicles right now. So the Department of Safety knows us. They know our vehicles and they will pull pretty much anybody over at any time. The key to remember is that they're pulling over BLC, Belknap Landscape. They're not pulling you over personally. You're not
Right.
in a personal vehicle. They have to inspect our vehicles. It is part of their job to make sure that the safety of our employees and the safety of the general public is being maintained. So when they pull you over, don't get upset. Be polite.
Yep.
Do what they ask you to do. And if your vehicle is ever put out of service, do not get back in it with the intent to drive it. Call us. We will get somebody out there to pick you up, and we
Okay.
will make sure that we get a tow truck up to get that vehicle back to us. If you were to get back in the vehicle, you could be potentially arrested, or our vehicle could be impounded, and we don't want that for anybody.
Okay.
So please keep that in mind. They really are good people. They're just doing their job, which is great because they're keeping the public safe.
Yep.
There's a lot of, look at what happened with that driver who took out 7 motorcyclists. I mean, that was
Yeah.
heartbreaking. And that's a company that didn't do what they were supposed to do at the beginning of each day.
That's what happens.
Absolutely. If there is an accident, let's say you're in a fender bender or somebody T-bones you, whatever the case may be, we want to make sure that you're okay. So if you are injured yourself, don't try to help other people. You need to take care of yourself. Let other people help you. However, if you're not injured, go check on other people, whether it's the passengers in your vehicle, whether it is the people in the other vehicle. Just make sure everyone's okay and call the police right away. We do want a police report even for a fender bender because the other person may not have insurance, which means we may not get paid if they were at fault. So we want to just get as much information as we can, and the police are the people to do that.
Okay.
If you're able to get, as many witnesses as you can, their information, but again, you don't have to, that is the police job. We have a vehicle accident report. You would contact Dustin, who is our garage. He's our head mechanic of our garage. He will send you the accident report and whip around or tell you where to locate it. You would take pictures of the scene, all the damage, any skid marks that may be there from trying to stop, any of the relevant stuff you want to get pictures of. And obviously you want to contact the office right away so that we can go out and check things out if we need to. It's really important that if you are using one of our vehicles, that the only people riding with you are people that are from Belknap and are on the clock. Friends can't come out and just hang out with you for the day, even if it's on a Saturday or Sunday. Other employees who are off the clock can't just ride around with you. Our insurance company does not like that kind of stuff. So just FYI. So I will send you a copy of that. Now we're going to go over our health and safety policy. It's really important. Safety is our first priority in everything that we do. It's a condition of employment here. Personal protective equipment is not an option. It is mandatory to wear PPE. It protects you and it protects the company. And it's just smart to wear. We don't want to see you lose your hearing. We don't want to see you get massive infections. So please make sure that you're wearing any personal protective equipment. The 3 main things that you'll wear on a daily basis is eye protection, hearing protection, and gloves to protect your hands, especially if you're digging underneath bushes. The last thing you want to do is get your hand stuck by a heroin needle.
Oh yeah.
So please keep that in mind. Make sure that you're inspecting all tools and equipment before you use them to make sure that they're functioning properly. For instance, when you sit on a mower, you should be starting that mower up before you leave every day and standing up to make sure that the safety seat is working and that thing shuts down if you stand up. Because we've had a mower go through a glass door and bounce off. So it's because the safety seat, the person jumped off of it in a panic and the safety seat didn't release the safety lock and the mower kept going.
Oh man.
So please make sure that those types of things are functioning properly. The other thing that's important is checking all your tools to make sure there's no cracks or fractures in them. We had a gentleman who was using a sledgehammer one day. This is my favorite story, and he knows it's my favorite story, and he loves that I tell it every time. Was using a fiberglass handle sledgehammer. It had a crack in it. He used it, and eventually it split. And a splinter went up through his hand and literally was up one side and out the other, straight through.
Ah, damn.
I'm like, send me a picture of that because that is the coolest stuff ever. So he did send me a picture, which
there's your training video.
I love that stuff. But it just goes to show that it's really important to make sure that whatever you're using isn't
Can never be
cracked,
too safe.
it isn't compromised in any way. And that includes your safety glasses. If you go to put on a pair of safety glasses and there's a scratch down the lens, it's compromised. It may
Yep.
not withhold the amount of force it's supposed to stop something from going into your eye.
Right.
Lockout, tagout, we'll go over that a little bit later.
I'm very
You're-
familiar with that.
Yeah, it's really important to be aware of everything that's going on a job site. Know where people are, know where equipment is, know where tools are. I've been out on a construction job site before, and there's literally past this, just this wide to walk through between contractor materials, our materials, and all of the other things that are going on, and vehicles and everything out. So it was really important when I was there, before I took a step backwards, to be looking behind me to know I'm not going to be stepping on something. I'm not going to trip on something. So please be aware of everything that's going on around you. Use proper lifting techniques. We cannot say this enough. We've had 5 workers' comp cases this year already. 4 of them are muscle strains because people aren't stretching. They're not picking things up properly. So please make sure that you're using your legs to lift things, not your back.
Yeah.
If we do not allow employees to lift over 40 pounds independently. We understand that many of you may work out. You may be able to bench 200 pounds.
Yep.
But when you're working, that's a no-go. It's 40 pounds, 40 to 50 pounds. You should not, anything over that, you should be asking for help. If it's 20 pounds and it's a really big object and it's awkward, you should be asking for help. It's not just about weight, it's about size as well. Let's see. Proper clothing and footwear is mandatory. We'll go over that later as well. Environmental hazards. We do highly recommend that you have SPF with you. Get the spray on stuff. It's so easy to apply.
Yep.
You don't have to sit there and rub it in, then you got crap all over your hands. You're like, oh, I can't wash my hands. Like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Just spray it on like every 2 to 3 hours and keep yourself from getting a sunburn. The other thing that's really important is heat stress. Last year, we had somebody with heat exhaustion in April, and it was only 55 degrees out, because it's all based on hydration. If you're not hydrated, you can absolutely get heat stress and that kind of temperature. The sun's level right now is the same as it is in August. So it is warm and it is beating down on you. And it's 60 degrees is going to feel like 80 degrees when you're working.
Yeah.
Be careful of bees and things of that nature. Bees, if you hear one bee, look around, but if you hear a swarm, you really need to step back from what you're doing and going, where is this hive? It could be in the ground, it could be in a bush, it could be
No,
in
no,
a
no,
tree on a
Angie.
house.
If I hear a hive, I am running.
Smart. So
Gone.
we do have, I believe most of our trucks have hornet spray in them.
Right.
And that type, we don't like to use it. Obviously, it's not great because we don't want to kill bees. They're very good for the
No.
environment. But in a situation where you've got hornets buzzing around, you can spray them. Drink plenty of water. We'll go over that a little bit as well. If you have any allergies to any type of bee stings, medication, anything, let your crew leader know. It's really important that if you have nitro pills, or if you have insulin for diabetes, you have a rescue inhaler. Those are things that we need to know in case you drop on a job site and you're like,
You have
I need
access to it.
the app, keep it in your lunchbox. Everyone knows, hey, his EpiPen's in his lunchbox if we ever need it. Poison ivy. It's everywhere. We're in landscape. We're going to see it. We're going to come across it. It's going to touch our bodies. But there are ways to prevent getting poison ivy. The first thing is to identify it. When you're working in brush, you want to look through the bush before you start to work. So if you're using hedge clippers, which you probably won't do a whole lot in the mow crew, but if you are using hedge clippers, it's important to maybe put some gloves on and open the hedge up a little bit just to see, is there poison ivy growing up in this bush? When you're around the edges, if you're out weed whacking, which is very likely you're going to end up doing, it's so easy for, if you hit poison ivy, that weed whacker is going to spread that all over the front of your leg. All over the front of your legs. I highly recommend that you look for poison ivy, do a job site walk. Is there poison ivy where I'm going to be weed whacking? And if there is, put on a Tyvek suit. We have them. So you throw on a Tyvek suit and you're protecting yourself. The important part is when you're taking it off, that you're touching the inside of the Tyvek suit to get it down and not grabbing the outside and pulling it down. Because when you do, now you're getting the oil on your hand. Poison ivy oil, the urushiol and the poison ivy can stay on non-porous surface for up to 2 years. So when it gets on the weed whacker, when it gets on the handle of whatever pruners or whatever you're using, it's really important that we're scrubbing those things down at the end of the day. Dawn dish soap is great for that because it breaks down grease. They say that the oil from poison ivy is equivalent to brake grease. We know how hard that is to get off our hands.
Yep.
So friction and Dawn dish soap is great. The other thing that you can do through the day is to just keep some cloths on you, just washcloths or whatever, throw some water on it and use friction.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have soap, just they say poison ivy hides here. So if you don't wash between your fingers, you could be walking around with poison ivy and now you're wiping your face and it's everywhere. And here behind the elbows is another big place where poison ivy gets stuck because people don't tend to wash. They wash up their arms this way, but they don't come around this way. So
Okay.
just when you're washing yourself, be really diligent about that when you get in the shower at the end of the day. It takes 3 to 4 hours for the oil to set on skin to actually cause the rash.
Okay.
You have time. If you do it twice a day, you'll be fine. It's really important that we report all accidents and injuries immediately, and that's regardless of severity, even near misses. So let's say that you're walking down on a job site, you trip and you fall, and the thing that hurts the most is your pride. Report that. Just say, hey, I just tripped and fell. I'm going to fill out a quick report. I'll be right back. Because in 3 days, if your knee blows up,
You know
maybe
why.
you've got a little cut, you didn't even realize it. Now it's infected. And we're going to still file the report for you. We will never deny that. But our workers' comp carrier may say, we have no proof that you did it on that day.
Right. Okay.
So please don't ever hesitate to report it. A near miss. Here's a near miss. A near miss is defined as an event that happens that if any circumstance had been a little different, it could have led to an injury.
Right.
For instance, back 5 years ago, we had a completely different tree crew. And we had a couple guys up in the tree cutting and we had a new groundsman. And he walked through the drop zone as a log was coming down.
Oh,
He
no.
didn't listen.
Crack.
He literally heard the log go down the side of him. Like he heard the,
Yep.
if that had even brushed his shoulder,
Good night.
you are not kidding. That log probably weighed 60 to 80 pounds and it's coming from a 30 to 40 foot height. The
It'll take you
velocity of
out.
that would have shattered his collarbone.
I've been at the top of 100+ foot trees topping them. And the drop zone is you only have a very small room for a mistake. You have got
Absolutely.
to pay attention.
100%. So that would be a near miss. So what did we do with that? We took that and we set up all kinds of new protocols based on that near miss. The kid ended up quitting. He never came back. He's like, I will never work in tree work again. He literally had a near death experience. Like he felt he could have died that day and that was too much for him. So we ended up
Pay
shutting down and
attention.
sending everybody home that day because everybody was so shooken up by it. So, but that would be a true near miss.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a near miss where something happened and you're like, well, I really could have gotten hurt, you need to report that. And you can call me, I will send you the form and you just fill it out and we just keep it on file.
Okay.
Yep. If there's an emergency on a job site, it's really important to remember that there's an extinguisher and a first aid kit in all of our vehicles. You cannot perform CPR if you've not been trained in CPR. Don't start hammering on someone's chest just because you think you know what you're doing. Okay. No first aid beyond what you know. If somebody has a compound fracture in their forearm and their bone's sticking out, don't go trying to shove that thing back in. You just, you stabilize it and then you call 911 and have someone come out and get them to a hospital.
Yep.
But nothing beyond what you're trained to do. If there's multiple people on site, you should be sending someone to the roadside to say, go watch for the ambulance.
Yep.
And you stay with that person or vice versa. If they know first aid and you don't, they stay with that person. You go to the roadside to get the ambulance and get them back to where the person is. We don't do traffic control anymore because we're smart. We have someone else do it. Fire safety, you watch the fire safety video, so you're good. You understand lockout, tagout, but I am going to go through it. Not verbatim, but basically what this is if there's a piece of equipment or a piece of machinery, a tool, an electric tool that is broken down, it is important that we unplug it, take the battery out and make sure any power sources are no longer going to it. And then we use a lockout tagout tag to put on there, and we do not take that off. That is not for anyone to take off but the mechanics who repair it.
Yep.
And that basically just tells people, hey, this piece of machinery is down,
Out of
out of
service.
service, don't touch it. And that's how we prevent injuries. Hazard communication we'll go over in another one at the end of this training. And that's basically it. So let's go to the next policy. So we're going to do controlled substances. As you know, Belknap's a drug-free company. We do not test for THC on the onset. However, we do not want people using THC on the job site. We
No, of
are
course not.
drug-free. So there's no wake and bake here. You can't wake up, smoke a joint, and then come to work or hit a dab pen or whatever.
Yeah.
None of that. What you do on your own time is what you do on your own time. But when you're here, you are substance free. If we have reasonable cause to believe that you're high or that you're under the influence, and THC does come up on your drug screen, it will be considered a positive test. So keep that in mind, that you don't want to come in with bloodshot eyes. We could be like, oh, that doesn't look right. We know people who have allergies. Obviously, we can take that into consideration, but
There's a
having
difference.
allergies and acting like a moron, two very different things. So
There's a difference.
Yep. And we do have people who are trained to notice those differences. So no sale of anything. The other thing that we want to be careful of is prescriptions drugs. If you have prescription Percocet for something, you shouldn't be taking them before work. You shouldn't be taking them during work. They will inhibit you from doing things safely, and that's not good. And you can't just hand those things out to people either. Like if someone says, oh, I have a headache, here, have a perk. We don't hand out our prescription
That's
medication.
still selling drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can include up to ibuprofen 800. Ibuprofen is just for Advil, but it's technically a prescription drug.
It is a prescription. Yes.
So you can give somebody 4 Advil if they want them, but you can't give them an ibuprofen 800 because they have control of the dose when they're taking in 200 milligrams doses. So one thing to keep in mind is also over-the-counter drugs. NyQuil, Sudafed, anything that may cause drowsiness. Don't be chugging NyQuil at 3 o'clock in the morning when you got a 5:30 or 6 a.m. start.
Yep.
Don't do that. If you're sick, just call out. Don't try to suffer through it.
Yeah.
Because if you're driving and you're on NyQuil, that is some bad stuff happening right there. So just be very aware of that. If you're being medicated by your doctor for whatever reason, let's say that you have high anxiety, you go to your doctor, I need something. Well, we're going to put you on this prescription. It is your responsibility to tell the doctor, I work in a very highly safety sensitive position. This is what I do for work every day. I'm working with heavy equipment. I'm working with electric tools, gas powered tools. Will this affect my ability to work safely? And the doctor may say, yes, for the first 2 to 3 weeks while you're acclimating to this medication, you really shouldn't be working in a safety sensitive position. You need to get a note from your doctor and bring it to me and say, hey, Angie,
this is what it is.
Yeah, I just wanted to reach out and let you know that, hey, I'm on this new medication. I can't work in a safety sensitive position. Do you guys have anything for me to do for the next couple of weeks while I acclimate to it? We will do everything in our power to find some work for you. We can't guarantee it though, because we may have people on workers' comp that we have to give them the light duty work. But normally we have some things that we can keep people busy with. So it's really important that you're honest with your doctor and that you're honest with us about those situations, because the last thing we want is for you to get injured. And now you're talking to our workers' comp carrier and they're finding out, oh, he's on medication. This is happening. How come the employer didn't know?
Yep.
If you are convicted of a DWI, DUI, or violating any criminal drug statute, whether on or off company premises, we have to know within 5 business days. And that's a conviction. Well, let's say for whatever reason, the house you live in gets raided for drugs. I don't need to know that because you've only been arrested and you may be an innocent bystander. You may not even get convicted. So if that happens, I don't need to know. I only need to know that a judge has convicted you or that you've pled guilty.
Yep.
Once you plead guilty or a judge says you're guilty, then I need to know. Innocent until proven guilty. And I am a true believer of that.
Exactly.
Let's see. So other things that we can test for, we went over reasonable cause. We have people that are trained for that. We do have random drug screens as well. We have a third-party company who will choose a list of people every so often. They send it to me and I call those people in and say, here, come pee in a cup for me. And we test their urine. So just be aware of that as well. No drinking or using any substances 6 to 8 hours prior to coming to work. I say 8 to 10. We have fired people for being under the influence on the job site. There was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We had an employee call us concerned about another employee who seemed to be acting funny. We went out, we smelled booze, we brought them back. I have a breathalyzer in my office and we had the gentleman blow and he blew a 0.16 at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So his water bottle clearly didn't contain water. We also had a gentleman during a snowstorm, and this is really important for you to understand. We had a 6-hour or 8-hour break in a window for somebody to have a break to go home, eat, rest, and do that before they came back. They went home, they chugged 2 tall boys. We called them 4 hours later and said, hey, can you come in? And they said, yes. The answer should have been, no, I've had a couple drinks. I need a few more hours. He showed up with the intent to work and we termed him because he was putting himself at risk. He was putting his coworkers at risk and the general public at risk.
Yep.
So please understand during snowstorms, it's best to refrain from any use of anything until you know the snowstorm's over, cleanups are over, you've got 2 days of clear skies. Then
Yep.
sit down and have your drink or whatever you do. Okay. So next policy is we're going to go to our HAZCOM and then I'll go to the employee handbook afterwards. So this is basically going over the fact that you have a right to know the chemicals, the materials and everything that you use day to day. This includes as little as gasoline and oil. Obviously you have that. So again, I'm going to give you the link for the GHS and our safety data sheets. And the great thing about the globally harmonized system that now is that all the safety data sheets are set up identical. At the top of them, you've got the company name that produces the product. The second section is the chemical compounds of that product. And then the third section is the first aid. And that's the 2 important pieces, or all 3 important, are right at the top of those sheets, which is fantastic. If you are to use a chemical, we will train you before you use it. So let's say that you want to learn about lawn and plant healthcare. You want to learn how to use fertilizers and pesticides. We're not just going to strap something on your back and be like, hey, go spray those weeds and see what happens. That's not who we are. You're going to have to be with somebody for a long time to understand where they can supervise you, make sure you're doing it right, that you're mixing it correctly, and that you're following the labels that come with those chemicals. And these are the basic safety data sheet pictograms. I'm taking notes. I apologize. I just want to make sure that we have new employees following a video that goes over all of this. I'm pretty sure that you guys went through a safety data sheet video, but just in case, I'm going to go back and make sure. So that's basically it for HAZCOM, for hazard communication. If you don't know what you're using, ask questions about it. Don't just start using it, okay? And finally, the employee handbook. There's a lot of information in here. I'm not going to go over all of it because we would be here forever. Let's see. So you can see who our management team is. You can scroll through the top of this. All of our departments. We have our project department, which is basically landscape construction. We have our recurring department, which is our maintenance services. Snow removal, we have our tree department, which is completely separate from everything. We have our sales department. We have administrative, our fleet, me, and then Jeff. Now we have our code of conduct, and I'm just going to go over our mission, vision, and behavioral agreements because they basically cover the basics of what our code of conduct is. So our job is to provide unraveled experiences and lasting value through our commitment to our clients, employees, vendors, and communities. Our values include having positive engagement with our staff and with our clients. We want to build strong long-term relationships with them. We have a commitment to the best practices and continuous improvement. We provide a quality of life for not only our employees, but our clients as well by the landscapes that we build and maintain. And we're giving everybody lasting value. We hope that if someday you do decide to leave Belknap, that you have a lot of really cool knowledge and new skills that you can use. Our behavioral agreements include, we commit ourselves to treat each other like we treat our customers. That's really important because oftentimes we get in close relationships with our coworkers and we take advantage of those things and we just take it for granted that they're just going to get over whatever we say. But we really have to stop and say, would I have said that to a customer? And if the answer is no, then we really shouldn't have said it to each other. We celebrate each other's successes, bear each other's burdens, and collaborate by working with the perspective of others to create a better outcome. It's really important that we look at things from different perspectives and we don't just say what I know is what I know. We want to hear each other. We want to take in the idea that someone else may have a better idea. Someone else may just have a different perspective. And how am I going to convince that person that this is the way that it should be done? And there's a way to do it without being a jerk, and we want to find those ways. We are proactive in bringing concerns forward in a positive manner so that they can be examined, discussed, and resolved. This company is all about transparency and all about being candid. And those two things lead to really good trust among employees. So let's say that you're out on a job with Johnny Walker and Johnny Walker is being a little jerk and you're just like, I can't work with this guy. Instead of saying, I can't work with this guy, you're going to pull Johnny Walker out of the group, pull him aside. Never berate anybody in front of anybody else.
Yep.
And you're going to say, hey, Johnny, I've noticed XYZ. What's going on? Is everything okay at home? Do you need any help with anything? Your attitude lately has been kind of down in the dumps. I'm seeing some changes here. What can we do to help you? Those are the conversations that we have here. We don't bash each other to other people. We talk to each other about our challenges with one another. We focus on business values, standards, and agreements, not personal disagreements and or frustrations. Focus on the situation, not on the person. Focus on the action, not on the person. And if we focus on those things and we correct them, then the person will improve. Yep. It's not about, do I like this person personally or do I dislike this person? It doesn't matter. We all work with people we may not like personally, but we can certainly have a respectable, trustful, and amiable working relationship with that person.
Right.
Is that the last one? We are resources. We are all resources to each other. And from that standpoint, we work together regardless of title or position. You will learn at Belknap, we are very much a matrix system of management. There's nobody here above anybody else. So becoming a crew leader doesn't mean that you could boss people around. Being the owner of the company doesn't mean he can boss people around. We talk to one another. We have conversations, we collaborate. This is particularly true in safety and in innovation and creativity. Like, what are some of the other things that we could do that make the company better? There's nobody above anybody in those two things. So please keep that in mind as you progress in your career here. All right, this is a really long section of compensation and benefits. You know what you were getting paid. Jeff went over that. You signed the paperwork. I do hope that you read it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Our pay periods are Sunday through Saturday. I'm sorry, yes, Sunday through Saturday, and then you're paid the following Friday. So for today's session and for orientation that you went through with Jeff and all of that, you're not going to get paid this Friday. You'll be paid next Friday.
Okay.
All right. We went over performance assessments. We do them twice a year. We do offer great benefits. We have Cigna now for our health insurance. Cigna is a national carrier, and you do not need to get a referral to see any specialist you want throughout the entire country. It is awesome.
That is
awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Really excited to have brought them in this year. We also offer dental and vision through Northeast Delta Dental. Both are great plans. We also, after your first year employment, you can qualify for a simple IRA retirement plan. I cannot stress enough. I wish somebody had told me at 20, make sure that you get a retirement plan together. I didn't start my retirement plan until I was 40. and I have very little money saved up. So it's really important that if you have any extra cash that you can throw into a retirement plan, that's where it should go.
Okay.
We also offer Colonial Life and New York Life. Colonial Life offers short-term disability, accident insurance, hospitalization, cancer insurance, and a whole bunch of other just random things that you can sign up for. New
Okay.
York Life is a whole life insurance plan. So I have a whole life insurance plan for myself. It's a $50,000 value. The cool thing is the longer I'm on the plan, I get cash accumulation that I can use later down the road.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really amazing. So I've been on the plan for 2 years, and right now my cash accumulation is like $600. But after 10 years, it's going to be closer to $5,000. And I can
Wow. There you
pull that
go.
money out and use it at any time without penalty.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. We also offer pet insurance. Who doesn't love their fur babies, right? So
Right.
if you have a fur baby and you want to get insurance, this is not like health insurance. So it doesn't cover the pet, but it does, it's a reimbursement program. So you can get a 50%, 70%, or 90% based on the plan that you choose reimbursement. So you pay
Okay.
your vet up front and then you submit the paperwork and they pay you back.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really great. Paid time off. This is the old policy. This is not the new policy. I do need to update it. But the new policy is fantastic. You can get up to 20 paid days after 10 years here as a
Wow.
full-time employee. I believe after 60 days, you get 5 paid days. So it's pretty quick that you're going to accumulate some paid time off, which is awesome.
Yes, it is.
We also have 7 paid holidays for people who are hired full-time. So full-time employees get 7 paid holidays right after 30 days of employment. So you will get Memorial Day and then you'll get the rest of the holidays from there.
Awesome.
I'm going to go through the rest of them in case somebody else is watching this with a different status. So you're full-time. So we went over that. Somebody that's seasonal full-time, that's working like April 1 through the end of November, but doesn't work winter with us. Their first
Okay.
year of employment, they get 3 paid holidays. After their first year, we will then add Thanksgiving and the day after.
Wow.
Summer employees, their first year, they're not eligible for holidays, but when they return, we will give them the 3 major holidays during the summer period, which are Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. And then
Nice.
part-time and temp on call employees do not get any holidays just because
Good.
it's unpredictable what they're going to
Yeah.
work. Let's see. We are an equal opportunity employer. We are union free at this time. We truly believe that we offer amazing benefits. We offer good pay. We have an amazing culture here that we don't feel a union is necessary. Employees can come to us at any time and discuss their wages. They can come to us anytime to negotiate anything else within their employment.
Okay.
We have a very big open door policy here.
That's awesome.
It really is. Let's see. We went through your pre-employment staff. So hours of operation, the office is open from 8 to 4:30. So it's really important if you don't have direct deposit that you get direct deposit. And the reason being is that the field workers could work from 6:30 to 6:30 and you're not going to have time to get in on Friday to pick up your paycheck.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's really good to get direct deposit if you don't have it already.
Okay.
Work schedules are emailed at the end of each day for the following day. So it's really important that you pay attention to your email. For maintenance, recurring side, you're going to get an email from Brian Shed. If you were to work in the project department, you would get it from Kim Brace. And if you work at our Carroll County landscape, I believe it will be Tim Ross that will be sending those out, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. We
do offer overtime this time of year. So I recommend that if they ask for a Saturday, that you do a Saturday, because it's really important that you remember that in the winter, the hours slow down. So if you can work overtime now and put that money away, you're going to be better off in the winter.
Absolutely. Take any advantage that you can.
Absolutely. If you can live off 35 hours a week and anything over 35 hours, you can put into a savings account. I highly recommend doing that.
Okay.
So attendance, really important that you're here on time and that you show up every day. We didn't have an attendance policy until this past year. And the reason we finally established one was because people just were taking advantage of us being nice.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of that, we've had to institute a pretty rigid attendance policy.
Right.
If you're going to be late, it's really important that you let somebody know. So for you, you want to let your operations managers know, hey, I'm running late this morning. I'll be in
Yep.
by whatever time. If
Okay.
you're a driver of a vehicle, that's only going to happen so many times before we're going to be like, look, we can't have this. So we're going to take your
Exactly.
driving away
Yep.
from you.
Yeah, we're done. Yep.
Exactly. So each late arrival is considered half a point towards our attendance policy, and you can have up to 3 points a month, but no more than 8 points a year before we start taking coaching action, which could include being suspended for a day without pay. And if it continues, being suspended for 2 days without pay. We don't want to fire anybody over attendance, but we have before, and we will if it really gets out of control.
Okay.
So if you're not going to be in for the day, it's really important that you give us at least 2 to 3 hours notice. And if that means texting someone at 3 o'clock in the morning, do it. You
Yep.
know, if you're vomiting at 9 o'clock at night, you shouldn't be coming in the next day.
Nope.
We run like a school. You got to be 24 hours of diarrhea and vomiting free. So before you come in. So if you do start getting ill at night, it's really important. At 9 o'clock at night, that gives us plenty of time to work with someone to be like, hey, we got to rearrange the schedule.
Yep.
But if you wait until 4 o'clock in the morning,
You screwed us. Yeah.
you're limiting us to what we can do. So
Okay.
as much notice as possible. If you're going to be taking paid time off or unpaid time off, it's really important that we get a 2-week notice on those appointments or on any vacations that you may be taking so that we can plan accordingly. We understand that life does happen. We understand that sometimes there's an emergency. We had to make an appointment and we have to go today. We expect that every now and again. But for the most part, we all know when our appointments are. We know that they're 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So get those into BambooHR as soon as possible.
Okay.
If you are more than an hour late and you did not call anyone to let them know you were going to be an hour late, that will be considered a no call, no show, which is 3 points towards the attendance policy. So you could hit those 8 points really quickly with no call, no show.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. If you are a no call, no show for 2 days straight, we do consider it job abandonment and we will terminate your position. So the communication piece is really the big piece here. Lunch areas on the job. This is really important. We're not just going to plop down on someone's picnic table or lawn furniture out by the lake. That's not where we have our lunches. We will
Absolutely.
talk to our supervisor. We will find out a good place to have lunches. There are plenty of beautiful places that we do have lunches. If you're out on the lake and there's a shaded tree, most property owners don't mind. What they don't want to see is people, you know, smoking or vaping out on their property. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
No swimming. We are on lakes. There are pools. Even though those are technically the lakes public, the beach that you are getting on at a client's property is private property, and we can't utilize that for our own purposes. Does that mean that you can't walk down and splash water on your face? No, you can absolutely do that. You just can't jump in the water because it just looks silly.
Understandable.
And it's unprofessional. Language on the job site, not all of us, but there's probably 90% of humans on the planet Earth use bad language. It happens. We don't want to be doing it on the job site. Things to keep in mind is that almost all of our clients have cameras everywhere and they can hear and see everything we're doing. So if you're dropping the F-bomb like a trucker, they're going to call us and be like, hey, you know, really unprofessional. I don't want that person on my site. My neighbors are going to hear that. It doesn't seem right. You know, we're spending a lot of money with you. You need to hire more professional people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Music is based on the department. So check with your supervisor on music. With mowing, you cannot use earbuds as hearing protection. Okay. You can put one earbud in and then put muffs over it so that you have music in one ear and then you're able to kind of hear what's going on around you. But the muffs really are the true hearing protection for mowing.
Okay.
We are going to have rainy days and inclement weather. We don't work when it rains. We can't mow lawns when it's raining. We can't build patios when it's raining. Those things are going to happen. We do our best to make sure people get their hours, but it's not guaranteed every week because we could have something come through that's a 2 to 3 day rainstorm and we can't help that. And then there aren't 2 to 3 extra days to make up. Let's see. We don't tolerate bullying. Bullying is a form of harassment. And bullying can be as much as somebody isolating. You have a group of employees who have a little clique and they're isolating the new employee. That's bullying, and I don't like that. It is a very overused word, and I understand that. I am very sensitive to that. If somebody comes to me with any type of allegation against another employee, whether it be sexual harassment, bullying, any other type of harassment, I don't just go and accuse the other person of doing it. I will do a full investigation. Investigations can take 2 to 3 days to get all the sides, including witnesses,
Right.
and what other testimony I need to get before I can make an educated decision on what type of coaching needs to happen, if any. So please be aware that we're very fair in these practices, but we will not tolerate bullying or harassing anybody in any means. Employee dating does happen. I know that you said you have a fiance or something, or maybe a wife. If you are single, and I'm going to go over this just in case, because
Yep.
again, somebody else may be watching this. Employee dating is allowed. However, we can't have supervisors dating their subordinates. So if
Nope.
that type of relation starts to happen, we need to be notified immediately so that we can move the employee or the supervisor so that there's no chance for nepotism or a false harassment claim if the relationship was not to work out. We also will have people sign a consensual relationship form letting us know that they both do agree and that it's not being forced on one person or the other.
Okay, fair enough.
We do allow reasonable accommodations for religious beliefs if anybody needs that. We have meal periods and break periods. These are really important. We need breaks. Our bodies are being overexerted every day. So in an 8-hour period, an employee would have 1 a.m. break, a lunch break, and then a PM break. The AM and the PM break are about 10 to 15 minutes in length, and they are paid. That's when you're going to check your phone. You're going to take your smoke, your vape, whatever, chew, whatever, if that's what you choose to do. We do not smoke on clients' properties. We do not vape on clients' properties. We do not check our cell phones on client properties. Our cell phones and all of those things are tucked away until our break times.
Understand.
Okay. In a 12-hour day, you will be allowed 2 30-minute unpaid breaks, because every 5 hours you're supposed to have a 30-minute break. So keep that in mind. However, if you have other mini breaks in between, you don't necessarily have to take that second 30-minute break. We do mandate the first 30-minute break.
Okay.
Okay. And if you have any questions on that, please let me know. You're
No
going
problem.
to see supervisors on their cell phones. That is their job. They
Yep.
need to be in touch with their project managers, account managers, clients, me potentially, the office. So they're going to be on and off their phones.
Yep.
That doesn't mean when they get on their phones that everyone takes a break. It doesn't mean that you get to check your phone.
Right.
They are doing it for business. We're going to get into attire. So you will get company issued shirts and sweatshirts that must be worn on the job sites at all time. You have to have something that has our logo on it.
Yep.
If you don't have a sweatshirt and it is a cooler morning, you are welcome to wear your own outerwear at that time. But as the day goes on, it warms up and you take it off. There should always be a Belknap shirt underneath that. Pants should be khaki pants or shorts. Khaki can be the color of green, brown, tan, or blue. So, Carhartts, Dickies, those type of things. You can also wear denim pants or shorts in the color of blue. So nothing black, nothing red, nothing yellow, nothing crazy.
Okay.
All pants should be rip free from tears and fraying. Nothing should be excessively tight or revealing.
Yep.
We don't want baggy or oversized pants or shorts, nothing that sags down. Nobody needs to see your underwear.
Yeah.
No sweatpants, leggings, or exercise apparel, nothing that's low rise or hip huggers. And shorts should be no higher than mid-thigh.
Okay.
Footwear, you can wear work boots, hiking boots, or an approved sturdy shoe. You cannot show up with sneakers or Crocs or tennis shoes or
Right.
Converse. Those are all no-goes.
Okay.
You are welcome to wear a hat while you work. We cannot have like the wide rim hats, because then that cuts down on visibility.
Okay.
But you can certainly wear a baseball cap, but it has to be facing forward. Please, nothing on the side and nothing, you can't have it facing backwards.
Okay.
The other thing with hats is that it has to have something on it that is professional. So we
Okay.
don't want people showing up with a pot leaf on the top of their
Right.
hat or Budweiser across of it. If you
Okay.
have your favorite sports, you got the Green Bay Packers hat, wear the
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers hat. You're welcome to do that.
Okay.
Conventional piercings are allowed. We do allow some of the non-conventional stuff as long as that they can wear flesh colored or clear plugs to do
Okay.
so. But any piercing should be flesh colored or clear so that it's not sticking out and obvious. We cannot have any loops or hoops. Like these would be completely against safety policy. Something could catch these and completely rip it out.
Okay.
Septum piercings are a no-go because things could catch them and rip them out. So just, it has to be flush to the skin and it has to be flesh or clear colored.
Okay.
Let's see what else. You want to remove jewelry as well. It's really important that we're not wearing wedding rings and other types of, you can declub your finger. It's disgusting. I've shown pictures to people of what it looks
Oh
like
yeah.
finger when the skin rips right from the bone all the way off. It's quite the sight. So really important to remove rings, necklaces, bracelets, watches, anything that could catch. Watches like this, even with the rubber, may not release in time before an injury has happened.
Okay.
Safety vests must be worn when we're working in high traffic areas. That could be on roadways, on commercial properties and parking lots. Anywhere that there's high traffic, we've got to have safety vests on.
Okay.
Also really important to wear safety vests first thing in the morning when this just, that weird time between dusk and dawn where it's kind of gray out almost.
Yep.
Safety vests.
Okay.
Okay. Personal hygiene. It's really important that we shower every day. We're wearing deodorant or something that doesn't allow our body odors to accumulate.
Yep.
So with that, if you're a naturalist, that's okay. We understand not everybody believes in deodorant because, well, they're not good for your body. But you can find crystals or crystal sprays that you can use, which allows your body to perspire naturally, but just minimizes the smell of perspiration. We want to shower every day. We want to brush our teeth every day, wash our clothes regularly so that we're not wearing the same shirt 5 days in a row. That's gross.
Yeah.
Refrain from wearing heavy perfumes and colognes because some people are really sensitive to those things. So we want to maintain good traditional haircuts and conventional hair colors. People who have long hair need to pull it back if they're working in the field, and facial hair needs to be trimmed, clean, and combed. Beards and mustaches must not protrude under respirator seals and extend far enough to interfere with hand and power tool operation. The last thing we know is someone with a beard who's using a power drill and the beard catches on the drill and now they're sucked into the drill.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, it could be really bad. We talked about parking. We want to make sure that we're using hand tools and equipment the way that they're supposed to be used. The last thing I need to do is show up on a site and someone's doing wheelies with their mowers or trying to do 360s.
Yeah.
Not a good thing to see. So.
Nope. And plus you can ruin the yard that way.
Oh my God, you'll destroy it. Absolutely. If there's ever any site damage, let's say that you are in a mower piece of equipment and you accidentally back into a granite post or you accidentally back into like a porch fence or a porch pole or something, so you crack siding, you got to let us know immediately that happens so we can be proactive in contacting the client. People here don't get in trouble for having an accident. They get in trouble for not reporting the accident.
Exactly.
So really important to understand that we are not that company that if you report something, you're going to get fired. We're the company, if you don't report it, you're going to get fired.
As you should. Yep.
Yep. So again, incident, injury, near misses, report right away. We went over the smoking and the smokeless tobacco products. They aren't used all the time. Use that for your breaks. If you are somebody who is addicted to nicotine, I highly recommend that if you're someone you're puffing on your vape every 20 minutes or so, that you get nicotine gum to help get you through, because you're going to have to work 2 to 3 hours before you can take a break. So use a nicotine gum to help curb that. We don't want a wad of chew in your mouth, darling.
No.
If a client comes out and you're sitting there with a wad, it doesn't look professional.
Okay.
Outside employment, not a lot of employees, but some employees decide to get a second job, whether it's in the winter or during the season. Maybe they want to work weekends or whatever. We do allow that. We're not going to tell you can't. However, it cannot interfere with Belknap's operations. So if you get a part-time job, it should not start at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It should start after 6 p.m. or be a weekend type thing.
Okay.
You cannot, and I'm going to say this very clearly, you cannot start your own landscaping business on the side without telling us.
Okay.
You have to come to us, say, hey, I'm going to start doing some mowing, or I'm going to start building patios on the side, but this is my client base. I'm not coming after your clients. I will not try to get the clients that you currently have to come to me. So please be very transparent with us if you decide to start doing some stuff on the side, and you cannot use PLC equipment to do that.
Understood.
Okay. If you decide to get on a health insurance and in the winter, hours drop, we will maintain your insurance for you. And once hours start to pick back up, we will start doing double deductions.
Okay.
To pay that back.
Understood.
Okay.
Got it.
Cell phone use we went over. If you want to say things about the company online, you're more than welcome to do so. We cannot stop you. However, do not use somebody's personal name because you could be facing a civil suit.
Okay.
We have maternity leave. We have family medical leave. These are not paid. They're just based on government requirements. This is the military one. It's really long. We have leave of absence for victims of crimes. Jury duty. Probably 3-4 times a year, we have people that get picked for jury duty. It's going to happen. If you are picked for jury duty, it's important that you just let us know and provide us the paperwork for it so we know that's where you are. If you are selected for jury duty, you want to put it into BambooHR so we know what days you need off. And then let's say jury gets done at like 11 o'clock. It's a really quick trial and you're like, oh, I could really use some hours because jury duty only pays $10 a day. Thanks for letting me do my civil duty.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Seriously. So, but if it's 11 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, I could totally work the afternoon. Give us a call. Well, we may have you go meet out on a job site or do some on-ball jobs so you can get some hours.
Yeah. Yes. Great.
Without having to use your paid time off. It's really important if a client has an accident, let's say a client's walking across the property and they trip and fall over something that's ours, or just trip and fall in general and they get hurt, we want to make sure that we check on them and just let the office know. If they're just like, no, I don't need medical help, that's fine. But let us know that they fell on their property. So in case they come back and say, hey, your guys left a rake there and I tripped over your rake. Well, we have some witnesses and we have more information on that.
Yep.
If a client comes to you, ooh, look at that, I've been on so long, it logged me out. If a client comes to you and they have a complaint about something that's happening, number one, do not take it personally. They are talking about the company. They are not talking about you personally.
Okay.
You can simply say, I understand. We're going to use empathy. I understand where you're coming from. Let me contact my manager and we'll work through it. You don't have to handle it.
Okay.
Okay. And I did go over if I did need to investigate an allegation against an employee, I will take my time with that. It could take 2 to 3 days, and hopefully we can come to an agreement at the end of it and move on from it.
Yep.
And that is it. So what's going to happen next is I'm going to send you all of these policies and I'm going to have you sign them through BambooHR. So it's pretty easy, click and sign like you did with everything else. If at any time during your employment you have questions on policies, or again, if you have any concerns that come up and even in your personal life, I am here to help you. If you're looking to advance your career, you can talk to your account manager, you can talk to me. So don't hesitate to reach out to me throughout your career here to work through whatever you need. Do you have any questions about today?
No, Angela, I pretty much got a good grasp on all of this.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Well, again, welcome to the team, AJ. And I do hope that this works out for you.
Thank you.
And that you love everything that you do. And here's a point. If you get into mowing and you're like, oh, this really isn't exactly what I wanted, I want to try something else, don't hesitate to let us know. What we don't want are employees out there that are miserable, because then you're going to make other people miserable. So
Exactly.
just let us know that, hey, this isn't working out. Can I try something else? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your time here, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, baby.